Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Survival Handbook. Today's video is all about bases, where to put them, what you need inside them, and simply how to make an effective base. We're mostly going to be covering the basics, but I'll try and get you set up for longevity on your server and game mode of choice. If you want to learn more about how to grow your skills and all sorts of other Ark related stuff, subscribe now so you don't miss anything. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is how thatch bases are superior to all other bases, and with a thatch base, the likelihood of getting raided is slim. Nah, I'm kidding. How many of you are about to go throw a rage comment down below? For real though, guys, thatch bases suck. No matter what game mode you're playing on, thatch building blocks are the weakest and are generally destroyed if you sneeze a little too hard at your screen. While thatch building blocks are one of the first things available to you, I recommend resisting the urge to set yourself up with it since it could end up doing more harm than good. The only time I recommend using thatch building blocks is to either make a decoy structure or simply to craft something for levels. For those of you that don't know the strength of the materials, it's really straightforward. The higher level you have to be in order to unlock the building material, the stronger it'll be. This means that wood is stronger than thatch, stone is stronger than wood, metal is stronger than stone, and tech is stronger than metal. That being said, if you can hold off on making a base until at least stone, do it. The way I usually handle this is by accepting death until I'm ready to make a base, at least, at the beginning of the game. I usually just craft random items or pick up explorer notes if they're available until I have the necessary levels to start on a stone base. Be careful with stone bases though, because they can provide a false sense of security. Try not to keep a stone base around too long because they're really easy targets for raids. Of course, if you're playing PvE, then there's not too much to worry about other than like a giga. For the people on PvP servers, your top priority when it comes to making a base should be making that base out of metal. Understand that making a metal base doesn't guarantee you any form of raid prevention. PvP servers are brutal, ruthless, and cutthroat, meaning even the best bases are susceptible to raids. If you truly want to be successful on PvP servers, it's extremely important that you have a few bases set up in hidden locations. Which actually brings me to my next point. Hidden bases are great. If done right, they're really hard to find and can provide you and your tribe with some really good longevity, at least for a while. Having these bases in hidden locations is important to get yourself set up until you're able to take a cave that you want. Caves are a bit of a catch-22 because it's really easy to find cave locations due to the Ark Wiki, but they're also much harder to raid because of a single choke point that you can load up with defenses. This means that if someone is already living in the cave you'd like to establish yourself in, you'll have to completely eliminate them before starting your own base there. Doing something like this will require you to have a fob or a forward operating base. Essentially, a fob is a small base near the target that you can keep supplies in, as well as a bed for close respawns. As complicated as raiding a base in a cave can be, they're not impossible. If you have a few Carbonimus, Trikes, gas bags, or rock golems, they should be able to soak a majority of the turrets in your way. If you do end up successfully completing a raid of this stature though, I commend you, and you'll be in an extremely good spot for the duration of your playthrough. The easier thing to do though is just to find a cave that's easy to defend and unoccupied. Okay, so I feel like I kinda went on a tangent there, so let's talk about the requirements you'll need to meet in order for the game to recognize that you're in a base. Essentially, all you need is 4 walls and a roof and you'll be considered protected, but in order to get those 4 walls you need a foundation, and in order to enter and exit that base you need a door. So this actually ends up being 1 foundation, 1 door frame, 1 door, 3 walls, and 1 ceiling. And that's just for a basic 1x1 base, which won't provide you with very much space at all. Those are the most basic requirements though, and I'm fairly certain that most of you have figured this out. I do recommend making your bases a bit larger than this, however, staying super confined to a 1x1 base isn't the worst idea if you think about it. Okay, great. So you know what to do to successfully complete a base, but other than a cave, where do you put it? This question is more directed at PvE players, since more often than not, PvP players have to jump through a few more hoops and have more limited options in order to keep their base safe. Well, the answer to that question is that you should put it close to valuable resources like crystal, metal, and obsidian. You'll find that as you progress through the game, you'll need more of these high-value resources, and will be spending a lot of time looking for them or traveling to them if you're not close enough. This causes a lot of PvE players to pick up and move closer to the resources they need, which isn't the end of the world, but does cause a bit of frustration and some pretty major setbacks. I recommend either running around until you find some of these valuable resources or using the Arc Wiki to find these resources in abundance. Of course, harvesting valuable resources does become easier once you get some resource dinos like the Ankylosaurus and flyers that can carry them, like the Argentavis. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about today is specifically what you'll need in your base in order to progress. The first thing any player needs when they've completed their build is a bed. Beds are going to let you respawn inside your base after each death, unless that bed is destroyed or has been spawned in within the last 5 minutes. Once you get a bed, consider making yourself some storage containers so that you can immediately start working on some backup supplies in case you die and lose everything your character was carrying. After that, it's a good idea to get something that can cook your food, like a campfire or industrial grill, and somewhere you can start making narcotics, like a mortar and pestle or chemistry bench. Essentially, you're going to be upgrading everything you have until you're fully industrialized, meaning that you'll start with basic technologies like a stone forge and mortar and pestle, but will eventually work your way up to an industrial forge and chemistry bench. These types of upgrades should be your goal for mid-game. Let's take a look at the base I'm using on my single-player world for my streams, which, by the way, you can catch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday on Twitch at 8 p.m. Central Time. In here we've got a variety of things like our smithy, our fabricator, a generator, some lights, a chemistry bench, storage chests, an industrial grill, a bed, and a fridge. Since this is a PvE run, I do have some more stuff on the outside like this massive industrial forge that I should probably encase sometime, these campfires dedicated to making charcoal, and some stone forges that for some reason I haven't gotten rid of yet. I also have the start of a greenhouse that I actually recommend most players end up making so you can start getting berries and veggies at a ridiculous rate to make various craftables you and your tribe may need. Of course, greenhouses are pretty difficult to protect on official servers, so maybe consider not doing that, unless you have a really big tribe or like an extremely fortified base or something. Fun fact about greenhouse structures, they're one of the best ways to tame a gacha. The only thing better is to use tech structures, and let's be real, that's kind of expensive. If you want to learn more about the Ark, click on the video on the left. Thank you so much for your time today. We'll see you in the next video.